Hello, today is the day designated annually by the United Nations for us to think about refugees. And the number of refugees is dramatically increasing. For the year that we have figures for, 2023, the number of refugees globally went up from 90 to 108 million. The majority of these are people who remain within their own country. So that, for example, in the Ukraine, in Myanmar, in the Sudan, and now particularly, of course, in Gaza, uh, large sections of the population just have to keep moving in order to avoid violence. And in Myanmar, 1 in 3 of the population have had to move their homes at some time or other to keep themselves safe. But perhaps the kind of refugee we're more familiar with is the kind who have to move to a different country. And again, the numbers have gone up from 27 million to 35 million. And of these, by far the largest numbers come from Syria and the Ukraine and Afghanistan. And when they move countries, they tend to move to the country closest to them. So that the countries which receive most refugees are Iran and Turkey, with Pakistan coming high up on the list. And in Europe, Germany receives 2.5 million refugees a year. The number for the UK is about 175,000. Of course, a lot depends on definition, but that contrast is noticeable. And so today I wanted us to think about the refugee issue, uh, and particularly perhaps in the context of the theme for the UK's Refugee Week, which is our home. And I was led to thinking what it is about, what it is that makes a home, whether it's familiarity, whether it's people, whether it's location, whether it's just a feeling of feeling comfortable. It will be different for each of us, and maybe it's worth thinking about what it is that what does make us feel really at home. But I think for the majority of us, it's to do with safety. It's feeling that we can be ourselves, that we can be safe, that we're not being threatened. And of course, this is something not experienced by many, many of those who are refugees throughout the world. They live in a life of feeling constantly under threat. And the pressure of that on the way they think about their families, and the worry about their children, the fact they have no jobs, the not knowing perhaps where they're going to be the next night. It's really very difficult for us who live in a more settled society to imagine what being a refugee was like. But today, I think it might be worth having a go and seeing if we can just begin to relate to their experience.